If I ever go missing, I don't want you guys to be sad. I want you guys to have a huge party in my memory. Throw a massive rager that people will remember for years to come. But I also want you to build a statue in my honor because that would be very cool. But if I do go missing, I know that your minds would be turning as to what happened to me because a missing person is some of the best mystery that you can get. Hello Most Amazing Top 10 family, I'm your host Shade Arena and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Today we are going to be counting down through some wild missing person cases with our list of top 10 scary disappearance stories on Reddit. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. And stick around until the end of the list because I'm going to be answering some questions from my Instagram inbox. If you want me to answer your question, you can hit me up through the gram. And for more videos, click the playlist to my left. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. Coming in at number 10, we have The Brother Is Gone. A Reddit user wrote in about how him and his brother used to always play in the forest behind their house when they were growing up. They would spend hours out there and it always was so much fun. His parents always warned them that they should never go out there at night. There wasn't anything supernatural with this thing, but it was a forest filled with predators at night and there was a chance that they could get eaten by a cougar or something. Well, one night his brother thought that he should challenge his parents by going into the woods at night, but in the morning he was still gone. Once the whole family realized what happened to him, they sent out a massive search party for him. They looked everywhere, but the only thing they could find was his shoes. Why did he take off his shoes? To this day, he still has no idea what happened to his brother. Did someone take him? Was it an animal? Or was it something much more terrifying? Coming in at number 9, we have Goodbye Mom. Here's another story, this time a mother who ran away. A family of 4 came home to find that their mom was missing. They had no idea what happened to her. At first they thought maybe she had gone out with some friends, but after they couldn't find her anywhere and she wasn't answering her phone at all, they decided that it was time to call the police. The police searched the house and it was clear that she ran away. Lots of her clothes were missing. She had taken money out of the family safe and she had taken all of her IDs. Her car was also missing. 2 weeks later, her car was found abandoned on the side of the road, but she was still nowhere to be found. The family put up posters trying to find their mom, but eventually they had to accept the fact that she was gone forever. Coming in at number 8, we have Moving In. This is such a freaky story. You really need to check out the history of a place before you move into it because you could be walking face first into a horror show. A Reddit user talked about moving into a new place and how they were so excited. After moving into this apartment, they would notice at night they would always hear a strange scraping noise. No matter how much they searched, they could never find the origin of this noise. After getting settled in for a few weeks, they started to get to know their neighbors. One of our Reddit user's neighbors told her that there were 2 families who used to live in this apartment. Apparently, 2 families back to back have gone missing from this place. No one has been able to figure out what happened to them either, but I bet you the rent was so low at that apartment. Coming in at number 7, we have The Runaways. Reddit user Guy in Florida wrote on Reddit about a story of a mother who was dating someone new. Her new boyfriend was getting to know the family, and I guess he was getting a little too close because one day he and her daughter ran off together. They took the family van and disappeared. The mother was devastated but couldn't understand why they would do this to her. She hired a private investigator to try and find them, but all the leads that came back seemed to be kinda phony. Then a few years later, the city drained the canal close to the mother's home and they found the van in the canal with the daughter and the boyfriend both inside. So maybe they didn't intend to run away together, but the both of them just died when they drove off the road into the canal. Coming at number 6, we have Boat Accident. A man was on vacation with his wife and partway through the trip he booked a boat for the 2 of them to head out on a fishing trip. The day before the trip, the man's wife got food poisoning, so she could not go, but she insisted that he head out and enjoy himself. Well, a storm rolled in and he never made it back from the trip. She contacted the police, but all that was found was a broken shell of the boat. She was devastated and eventually had to return home without her husband. Then a few weeks later, she received a call from the local authorities who had seen him. They didn't get an opportunity to bring him in, but he was spotted walking around the downtown core. She flew back out to find him, and after following a trail of clues, the search ended up at a dead end. Coming in at number 5, we have Daddy Didn't Come Home. Someone's dad going out for a pack of smokes and then never coming home is a story as old as time, but not every dad who goes missing ran away from his family because he's a deadbeat dad. Sometimes you have a good old-fashioned mystery on your hands. A Redditor wrote in about a story he heard when he was younger, about a man with a wife and 2 kids who went to work one morning. He called his wife when his shift ended. He was on his way home and he never made it back. All the regular legal events went through, but he couldn't be found. One of the strangest parts about this case was there was footage of this man leaving work in his truck, and his truck was seen on a security camera not even a mile from his home. But nothing could be found to help that family find their dad. His vehicle, any records of him, everything was gone forever. Coming in at number 4, we have the Seance. A girl at a Catholic school thought it would be a funny idea to mess around with some witchcraft in the basement of her school. I guess if you're going to a school that is protected by God, it should be no surprise that witchcraft would be one of the ways you want to rebel. Well, a group of girls pulled this off, and afterwards one of the girls seemed to be acting strange. No one really paid attention until she started to have outbursts in class, and her parents say that she started waking up in the middle of the night screaming. This all climaxed when the girl went missing in the middle of the night. Everyone in town went out searching for this girl, but she was never found. Maybe messing around with dark magic attracted something or someone that stole her away. Coming in number 3, we have Mayumi Arashi. Her story blew up all over the internet a little while ago, and it was all over Reddit. The story of Mayumi Arashi, a young Japanese girl who went missing after she left home to meet up with a friend to study. Police got involved, but they couldn't find her. Mayumi's sister Yoko spoke with her friend, but she stated that Mayumi never planned to study with her that night. There was a male suspect who police thought could have been the one to kidnap Mayumi, but they could never link him back to the case. Coming in number 2, we have Laras Midi. This is a wild story of someone who was out for what seems to be a normal vacation, but then things start to get insane. It was Laras and his friends who went on a trip to Bulgaria, and the group of them were having a pretty good time until things started to get out of hand. They got into a fight with some of the locals, and Laras got hit in the head pretty hard. His eardrum got ruptured, but the fight was broken up before things got any worse. The thing that sucks about this is that with his ruptured eardrum, he was unable to fly, and he and his friends were supposed to fly back in 2 days. He tells his friends that they should leave without him, and they do, but while Lars was alone, he starts to become extremely paranoid. He thinks people are following him, and he calls his mom to book him a flight back home and cancel all of his credit cards. The next day he goes to the airport, and while waiting to get on the plane, he is approached by airport security who wants to speak with him. He then runs out of the airport, jumps a fence, and runs into some bushes, disappearing forever. Coming in at number 1, we have Dorothy Jane Scott. Bugs Doing Things wrote on Reddit about the case of Dorothy Jane Scott. This is a very frightening missing persons case. Dorothy started getting calls from an unknown person. This person was telling her that they were going to find her and kill her, and they had been stalking her for quite some time, and they knew exactly where they were going to nab her from. Then one day when Dorothy was walking to her car in the parking lot of a hospital, she was grabbed and she was never seen again. Police searched for her, but there was no luck. What makes this even worse is that the killer would call Dorothy's family for years after this happened to taunt them and try to drive them insane with the death of their daughter. Alright everyone, that has been our list, and as promised, I'm going to be reading out some questions from my Instagram inbox. Simone Tip Lady wrote in and asked, have you ever been to Australia? And if you have, what is your favorite part? And if you haven't, where would you like to go? Well, I have not been to Australia, but if I did go, I would want to hit up the big cities like Sydney and Melbourne and go to like the Melbourne Comedy Festival. That would be amazing. Also, I would love to dive at the Great Barrier Reef if I was there, but outside of that I haven't really given it much thought. I always thought Australia would be a good place to settle down. It's like hot Canada. I don't know how I feel about the spiders though. Another fan wrote in and asked, do you like toast? And the answer is, I love toast. Toast is one of the greatest additions to breakfast ever, or any meal for that matter. It is so versatile with minimal effort. There is so much you can do with a piece of toast. You can have it dry and just dip it in your eggs. You can put jam on it. You can put butter on it. You can put peanut butter on it. You can put Nutella on it, and we're just scratching the surface. Toast wraps up every breakfast perfectly by letting you run the toast through all the drippings left on your plate, and you get this mixture of all the flavors, and it embodies the whole meal. real. And toasting bread before it goes on a sandwich is absolutely insane. Honestly, I could go on for hours about toast. And finally, Electric Star 3336 wrote in and asked, where is your name from? Is it Spanish? Well, I'm actually named after Che Guevara. He led the revolution in Cuba. He is Argentinian, but his name was actually Ernesto. Che was the nickname given to him by the Cuban people because Che is a slang term that Argentinians use a lot, so that's a little bit of backstory on my name. Alright everyone, that has been our list. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Until next time, I've been your host, Che Dorena, and try not to go missing. Bye. But nothing could be found to link. What? No, that sentence doesn't make sense. But nothing could be found to help the and toasting bread before it goes on a sandwich is